Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I should say. It is Sunday, September 28th, about 12:25 p.m. Central Time, and we have some unfortunate news this morning for those of you. Well, this afternoon. I'm sorry. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind here. For those of you who didn't hear, President Nelson passed away early this morning. He was president of the Corporation of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as well as the prophet. He was 101 years old, so not totally unexpected. He was in reasonably good health, as far as I know, and I don't have any other details on that other than that Dallin H. Oaks is expected to take over as prophet according to church protocol. But the other story that I have this afternoon is rather disturbing. There has been a shooting, a mass shooting at an LDS church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. That's just outside of Flint, Michigan. It's a relatively small community. There was a gunman who allegedly drove his truck into an LDS church building while there was an active service going on. There were hundreds of people inside the building, and then he exited his truck and allegedly opened fire on the congregation. He was armed with an assault rifle. Thank you, Margaret, for the super sticker. Appreciate you. So here's what we know so far is that the shooter has been neutralized, according to police, and there are at least 10 victims, 9 of them in critical condition, 1 deceased at this point. I can show you some footage coming from the church. They believe that this person deliberately set the fire. And police do not, or I should say the fire department, there was a press conference just a short time ago, probably about 30 minutes ago, where they confirmed that the fire department had put out the fire, but they were still concerned about hot spots in the building, and they do expect to potentially find more victims once they're able to go in and to look inside the building for other potential victims. But here's what we know so far. This is the LDS church building on McCandlish Road in Grand Blanc, Michigan, again, just outside of Flint, a smaller community there. You can see it's a wooded area around the church. And the second building that you can see on the right side of that video is a Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall. They were right next to each other. It was a 4-alarm fire. There were, the earlier police footage that I was able to see, there were at least 6 fire trucks and many, many police vehicles outside the church. Thank you, Robin. Always appreciate your compassion. So it was Chief Renier, I believe, of the city, the city police chief that was giving the news report. He said a 40-year-old male from Burton, which is a small community just north of here, north of where this church is, drove his truck into the building, deliberately set the fire, and then began firing shots at the congregation. Again, during a church service where there were hundreds of people inside. They do not expect, of course, the building, you can see the fire, it is huge. So it was a 4-alarm fire. They expect that building to be a total loss. There were 10 people taken to the hospital. One of those, we believe, died at the hospital. And so far, that is all we know. There has obviously been, as there always will be, a lot of speculation about the shooter's motivations, and about his potential, religious or political affiliations. But so far, there has been nothing confirmed by anyone about the the alleged, perpetrator of this. And I don't know if we need to call him alleged since he is deceased. Police officers did exchange fire with him at the scene, and he was neutralized, as they say, at the scene. So this is obviously a terrible, terrible situation. I know that there have been shootings at LDS churches in the past, but I don't think anything on this scale, of course. It is incredibly tragic that people are just, coming to church to be, um, to worship and to practice their faith, and they become the targets of something horrific like this. Um, so I don't want um, to make any speculations myself. I have also heard, some of the speculations and rumors, but until I see and or hear something confirmed by authorities, I don't want to report that way, um, particularly because it's dangerous and irresponsible to do so. This is a statement from Donald Trump. He says the FBI was on scene, will be leading to federal investigation, providing full support to state and local officials. Still a lot to learn. It appears to be, and this is actually what I don't even want to read the rest of it, because we don't know if it is a targeted attack on Christians. We don't know if that's true. And that's why I don't want to report on things like that until we have some confirmation. Specifically because, anybody else may try to politicize this. Don't do it. Just don't. Don't participate in that conversation because we don't know. Um, all it takes for things like this to stop being politicized is for us to not engage in that conversation. And I, for one, opt out. I will not speculate about the political and or religious and or social and or mental health implications of any of this until we have confirmation on things. So this is all we know at this point. There's going to be another press conference at 5 p.m., I believe, Eastern time. I have another show scheduled today. It is an LDS news show. We were going to talk about General Conference and the death of President Nelson. And obviously, this is the main topic we will be talking about is this fire and shooting that happened in Grand Blanc. I want to say Grand Blanc, Michigan, but I think the locals say Grand Blanc. Again, just if you're joining us newly here, there was a mass shooting at an LDS church during a church service where the shooter drove his truck into the building, deliberately set a fire, and then opened fire on the congregation with an assault rifle. Police were on scene quickly, and they were able to neutralize the suspected shooter, and 10 people were taken to the hospital, where one of them later died. Again, police officials have been saying they expect there to be more victims found after they are able to go into the church building. And now that the fire has been put out, and they're still concerned about, of course, structural damage and the safety of the firefighters, but once it is safe for them to go inside, they do expect to find more victims. Heidi Ho, I'm not sure how I'm engaging my own spin, but I would love to have a conversation about that, because I do my best to be as neutral as I possibly can. Although I do recognize we all come to every situation and story with our own backstory and our own perspective on things. Judy Jettison, just want to clarify, this did not happen in Utah. This happened in Michigan. So I just want to make sure that the proper information gets out. I agree, Kiki. I'm sad for everybody involved in this. The violence is certainly never justified, no matter what the reason is. So this is really, really sad for anybody who had loved ones in that building or anywhere nearby. And also, my condolences to everyone who is also mourning the death of President Nelson. Um, Miss Woozy, I that's always my hope as well. However, I did hear one report that said several of the victims were children. Again, we don't know for sure. Thank you, Carmela, for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Um, yeah, I'm afraid that this is the kind of thing that's going to continue to happen, unfortunately. And I think the way for us to combat this type of violence is to express compassion and concern for all involved, and to express understanding um, for the victims, regardless of who they may be. And the other part of what we can do to um, to prevent things like this from happening again is again to not join the conversation of inciting violence against any group for any reason. Violence is never justified, and we do not have to listen to the rhetoric that incites people and stirs people up to believe that violence needs to be met with more violence. Um, thanks, Carmela. I appreciate that. I agree with you, Miss Woozy. That is me too. Um, so this is obviously it's a very sad story. I'm in the town over from Grand Blanc, so it's a whirlwind. Says these are rural areas and suburbs where you feel safe. No one and no area is safe anymore. Such a tragedy. I agree. It does. It can and it does happen anywhere. Um, thank you, everybody, for your expressions of kindness and condolences for everyone who's involved. Um, I agree with you, Kiki, on this one. Um, yeah, salt and pepper. This is kind of how I feel too. Those of us who would never think of committing a violent act, we find it hard to understand anyone who would, because our brains and our hearts work differently than theirs. And when we don't understand, yeah, I assume it's different life experience and different wiring. So again, there is going to be another press conference this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, the Salt Lake Expositor episode that I'm participating in is scheduled to happen at 3 p.m. Central Time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern. I've made a suggestion that maybe we want to delay that until the press conference is concluded, and just so that we can have the most updated information. So just if you will subscribe to the channel, then you'll get a notification, and hit your notifications. You'll get a notification when that episode goes live. As I said, right now it's scheduled for 3 p.m. Central Time. And sorry, I was just checking to see if there were any updates incoming here, but I don't see anything. So again, look out for that Salt Lake Expositor episode. That's where I will be at 3 p.m. Central Time this afternoon, unless we decide to delay the episode in favor of more information coming out quickly. So again, if you know and love someone in this area and you need to share this episode with someone so that they have up-to-date information, this report that I'm giving is just prior to the first press conference that came out immediately following this incident. Happened at 10:25 this morning, and the press conference was at 1 p.m. Those are both Eastern times. And again, right now it's 1:41 p.m. Eastern time, 12:41 Central. So I will be live again later this afternoon. And again, I'm not going to speculate on anything that hasn't been confirmed by authorities. So I will continue to keep you updated, and we'll have another report here in a few hours. In the meantime, please hug your loved ones and take care of each other. Spread kindness and not hate. Love you guys. Thank you.